Yes, indeed. Of course, my apology for that, but of course, we had a break temporarily. You know, modern technology is such that it is not perfect, and therefore, from time to time, Murphy's Law will occur, where, of course, what has to go wrong will at the worst possible time. Well, of course, that occurred just now, but of course, we are determined. We are determined, of course, to continue with the program, having regard, of course, to that break in transmission earlier. I'm just getting, not the YouTuber, but certainly the Facebook up and running, so that, of course, we can continue on this very, what I consider to be important journey, of course, in, of course, sharing information that will, of course, at the end of the day, benefit the national community and those who are interested in, of course, developing Trinidad and Tobago. And I have no doubt in my mind that at the end of this exercise, people will be much more edified, much more informed, and, of course, are prepared, of course, to do what is required, especially if they have the opportunity to vote, because they would have been qualified so to do, and as a consequence, of course, do their civic duty and respond to the requirement at this point in time, the necessity to, of course, engage in such a way so as to salvage our democracy. I'm waiting for Facebook to get on board before, of course, I resume. I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it being attracted. I don't know why it is not showing up here. All right. I'm getting the impression that it is activated. I don't have, of course, the monitoring mechanism at hand, but let me try something else and see what may be the issue. All right. Okay. Just go on. Okay. Oh boy, this God. No. Okay, let me see. Just continue. What's happening here now? All right. Yes, indeed. My apology. You're having a little technical issue here. Just bear with me. I'm going to put on some music in the meantime, because it appears that I may have to look at.
Shaka, talk to me in a happy family. Tell me when you're hitting one, better you hit all and done. Now when I look at South Africa and the pain my race go through, lying smitten by the bogus massa. I burn, oh my blood I mourn, cause I know they hit me too. Shaka, shaka, tell
All right, just a minute. Let me just take up this here. All right, okay. President Knight, are you getting us?
Lennox, Facebook is running.
Facebook is running. All right, good. Okay. Well, YouTube should be up. So, all right, because we got a sudden crash, and I had to, of course, resume. I think I'm here now. So, of course, you want to make a contribution, or you just wanted to inform me?
Just wanted to inform you that.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very, very much. Because I have to rely on your eyes and your vigilance, having regard to the fact that in studio, of course, one of the system again, I don't know why it is not transferring from the desktop to the monitor, and I cannot monitor the program as I would like to, as I would normally do on two separate systems. But that being as it may, I'm glad that I think everything is up and running now. Let me, of course, just look at the situation with respect to what I wanted to talk about earlier. I think I mentioned it briefly when, of course, we had this sudden, of course, closure. But that being as it may, we have to, of course, continue to work and to work assiduously and to, of course, bring the information that is required. Let me just get back to that particular piece that I had up already and was running when, of course, we had that unfortunate disturbance, let me put it that way. All right, so bear with me. And as I was saying, of course, tonight is Thursday night. Of course, tomorrow is my night off, so to speak. And of course, not that I'm looking to it, but of course, is sometimes, you know, you are so bloody tired and so fatigued that you need, of course, to get a refresher. I suppose that is what I am talking about in real terms. Let me just put back up that particular item that I had up before, of course, the interruption came. Let me just do that now. All right, great. So there we have it. Of course, I was making the point that our job is not about interfering where we have no business. But if a political party is in government, it is all of us business. And I was making the point about democracy. Democracy, of course, is the absolute and total participation is expected of everyone. Government by the people, of the people, and for the people. So Rowdy cannot tell us that it is P&M business. No, that is obscene and absurd. And we must not, of course, succumb to that kind of obfuscation or hogwash or dereliction of responsibility and duty. Otherwise, we will be doing like them. But let's go to the lines. Professor, good night. Welcome. Sorry about the interruption earlier.
Dr. Lennox?
Yes. Good night.
Tonight supposed to be Wednesday night, you know.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, yes. Oh, yes,
you trying to cut short the program by there or what?
15, oh boy. First, I'm tired, boy. Today I had a long rest after the program, and I can tell you, so I got up thinking, well, thank God tomorrow is Friday. But all right, it's all right. We have another day. I don't know. Thank you very much, of course, for that correction.
You can't cut me short, man.
All right. I hear you. Thank you very much. And I didn't even check the date. Okay, thanks very much. Of course, go ahead, caller. Thanks very much. If you are calling to correct me, well, I was corrected already by a previous caller, so maybe if you want to make a contribution, you can do it one time.
The program has ended on Facebook. The live has ended on Facebook.
Right, and it has resumed now. I had to cut it off and go and start all over again. So check again. All right. Yes. All right. So those of you who would have had a little piece and then it ended, well, that was due to circumstances beyond my control. It suddenly, of course, it crashed. Let me say the computer crashed. I had to quickly, of course, start all over again. So everything should be all right now, and hopefully that we do not have that kind of interruption, because it is too crucial. Right, to be started with Bali, of course, and of course it is party time. A very, what I consider, sarcastic piece by him in Calypso, of course, saying that, listen, this is the time when people, of course, come out with sweet tongues and they Mama Guy and try to hoodwink, etc., etc. We have had enough of that from Rowley and the PNM, so we know what to look for now, because of course education, a fundamental reason for education or outcome of education is moving people from the known to the unknown. So of course you know now who Rowley is, and therefore we must go on to the next phase. But thank God we also know that Kamala Prasad Bisesa has performed well, the UNC has performed well, and therefore in those circumstances it is not really an unknown factor. We know that we are moving from the known now to the well-known, and that is to say in terms of performance and as far as government and governance is concerned. Let's go to the lines and see what is happening here. President, good night. Just tell me where you're calling from in terms of your location, so I could, when the other person calls in, I could ask Belmont to wait and you go ahead, San Fernando, etc., etc. That is the reason for wanting to know where you're calling from. Go ahead, caller. And where you calling from?
Mr. Lennox.
Yeah. Where you calling from?
From South, Mr. Lennox.
South, right. Good, great. Go ahead.
Macano here, boy.
Hey. How you going, man?
Hi there, my brother. How you going?
Well, of course, fair to find and like the weather. I know it is changing to the dry season now in the context of Trinidad, but and therefore bushfire, etc. And we pray to God. But with the curse of this government, we may get, of course, a inferno like that of what is happening in Los Angeles now. But I pray that does not happen. All right, go ahead.
Jesus will help us, Mr. Lennox.
I hear you, my friend.
And God blesses to you. The only thing, you cut me short on the program tonight.
Huh?
You cut me short on the program tonight.
Yeah, a little piece, because the system broke down. So we are back on and it's full. So go back in and you should be getting the other program. I should put a B on it, but I was so hurried I didn't put a B to suggest that it is distinct from what we started with and got cut off earlier. All right?
Okay, then. Well,
yeah. So go back on either Facebook or YouTube, and you will hear yourself as well, and of course the rest of the program.
Okay, then bless us. Good night to you until I hear you in the morning again. Please.
Yes, thank you very much, of course, for that. Once the Lord gives that, and of course, who He blesses, no man curses.
No man curses.
Yeah, that's right. All right, my friend.
My brother, blessings to you until tomorrow. Please God again.
Yes, man. Thank you very much.
Lennox, Mikey, and Andy Williams.
And Andy, yes, that's right. The awesome trio. All right.
The awesome trio.
Yes.
All right, brother. Thank you. Blessings.
Okay. All right. Yes, indeed. Of course. Yes, people. So people are still inquiring. What I can say is that reboot as well, and of course on your Facebook page and your YouTube, and you should be getting us live at this point in time. But the point I wanted to make, as I started with, is that nobody could tell us the fast and out of place, disrespectful and obnoxious if they tell us that what is happening in the PNM is their business. It could only be their business if they are not interfering with our money and making decisions on our behalf. Otherwise, that will not be representative government. Let's go straight to the line. Pleasant good night. Welcome.
Lennox Smith, Professor Lennox
Oh
Smith.
gosh.
Pleasant good night to you and everybody.
Just now, point. Hold on. I have Diego Martin on the line. Diego Martin came in first.
No problem.
Yeah, I didn't recognize that. Go ahead, Diego Martin.
Yeah. Tell him Diego Martin always batting early. Not coming late. He always batting early.
Yeah. That's a staple. All right.
Let's get into the real Jekyll and Hyde situation with Gigi and Smallton.
Okay, go ahead, my friend.
All right. You know, Gigi say the young lady is his cousin, right?
Yes.
Smallton say that was his stepdaughter, right?
Right.
Fast forward to 3 days ago, Gigi say he and Smallton had a very good working relationship.
Yeah.
Right?
That's so true, yes.
Let's go back into history. 2018, the raid in Westmoreland, right? That big drug bus, right?
Yes.
there is a young lady who was charged together with 3 other persons.
Yes.
Gigi saying now, give that person a chance because it's something they do, and like everybody, we should give them a chance. They are young and thing. But Gigi didn't tell us that person was kidnapped before, and it is alleged that ransom was paid. So to me, that paints a totally different picture to what Gigi trying to sell to us.
So it means, of course, if I take what you're saying, you utilizing my own training in criminology, it means that therefore that it is a habitual thing. Yeah, it is habitual. It is a modus operandi. Mode of operation. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
You know, I all over the place as Mr. Diego Martin at those talk show.
Yes, ma'am.
So today on, you know the big policeman show, he call himself the dog now.
Okay.
I brought up this issue and I said the police has to take this investigation further and revisit it. Justice delayed is justice denied.
Yes, ma'am.
Let the chips fall.
Fall where they be, yes. I agree with that.
Right. Because you have a police commissioner and the high government official, the bodies.
Yes.
And they were both somewhere related to that particular individual.
Right.
I'm not going to link them into the same nefarious activity. What I'm going to link is the BMW that went by and they hold the suspect and they say there's nothing to charge and they let him go.
Right.
No. You know the big investigator? He admitted today that he knew about the car going and he knew the stop and the investigator and the let go man. But you know what was alarming? He said he was there before the police.
Okay.
So how come he was there before the police? Who tipped him off? Who gave him the information that something going down there?
Yes.
So I put it on the Commissioner of Police hat now. I want to revisit that scenario with that and to find out if the TTPS might have been complicit with everybody that surrounds that. And more importantly, I hope it don't have a rat to eat all the evidence, you know. There are no evidence, no conviction.
Or somebody fall off a chair.
Right, or fall off a chair. Or all the witnesses going abroad, can't find them, have Alzheimer like Limo.
Yes.
And all the police files, can't find it, gone all over the place. And all of a sudden, the DPC say, we have no evidence. Mr. Rat gone with it. You know, Rat is in Woodford Square. He's no longer there. Dr. Rat.
Yeah. He's no longer around.
Right.
But of course, it appears that there's some kind of reincarnation. Maybe they believe in that kind of spiritual.
I'm pleading with the police. The confidence level with citizens is 0.05.
Yeah.
In order to move that up to 103, they have to revisit that and let the chip fall where it is. If police TTP officers or high government official wants to bog that case, I will rest my case. I think they should give me a KC designation, you know, Diego Martin, Mr. Diego Martin KC.
I hear you, my friend. I hear you, man. All right, let's go straight, of course, to Mr. Point. Good. A pleasant good night to you, sir. Go ahead. Point.
A pleasant good night again.
Yes, go ahead. Yes.
Lennox, I sent you a little document there. I heard earlier on TCT Heavy that somebody called and say like they started to put sanctions on them, PNM ministers and them. And they said that was verified somehow. Well, I saw that document there where they sanctioned somebody. And they said that they have more members of the PNN government to sanction. So I sent it face you, able to take a little read
so my program last night was very appropriate then.
But it has to be. Like you and Chucky using the same crystal ball.
Yes. That's, indeed. There must be more in the motor than the person. The question is what really was the reason for, or is the reason for Rowley's resignations proposed as because there were no signs by him. In fact, all the signs were that he was going to contest the elections and lead the party into the 2025 elections. So something must have happened between the time that he made all those gestures, including, of course, postponing the internal elections, and, of course, because he wanted to consolidate his position clearly, and he figured that he would have gotten opposition and be embarrassed, like how Kamala Prasad Bisesa was not embarrassed because, of course, she got something like 11,000 votes, while he got over 2 days, I believe, of voting only 8,000 votes. So he probably didn't want that, and clearly more opposition to him within internally would have, of course, manifested. He was trying to avoid that. He is, of course, a very, should I say, dishonest person, very beguiling, and, of course, extreme in terms of illusions and delusions in terms of his utterances. So we understand that very, very clearly, and therefore last night was no chance. But I like to know that others are picking up the gauntlet and looking at it from that perspective as well, so that we, at the end of the day, all of us will coalesce and, of course, compare and contrast and come up with the real reason why Rowley has, of course, resigned. Not that narcissist and not that power mongerer. We have seen too much of a greed for power for him to give up so simple. But of course, he has not, in fact, because he passed it on to a man who will act on his behalf or act according to what he dictates behind the scenes. But it is about, of course, trying to clearly prepare himself for what has to come and trying to isolate the party from the repercussions and at the same time hoping that they will win the elections. That and a pink donkey he will not see. Go ahead, my friend. Any other thing?
I wanted to take up the boxing gloves here and hit Annie the belt. Lennox, if I have my way,
go ahead.
I banned Carnival for about 20, 30 years. Here's why. Samuel Stafford did a live recently on a post that he did how much years ago, warning about the Venezuelan influx in this country.
Yes.
Trinidad and Tobago black people and Indian people.
Caller, just hold on. We have another caller. Mr. Point 14 is on the line. Go ahead. Go ahead, Mr. Point 14.
We have to unite together as a people, because I'm telling you all, I saw something in Canada when I was there last year.
Yes, you did.
And the same thing is going to happen on a different scale in Trinidad, because Lennox, I just run my little PH chanting on the road, and every day I am seeing fresh Venezuelan people walking the streets.
Yeah. That is hog talk and diatribe when Robbie says only 40,000 of them here. We know better. The frequency with which we see them. To every 3 persons on the road, you would see one, or every 4 you will see at least two. So we know that the numbers based on the frequency and across the country, not just in Port of Spain where I am, but when you go to Samoa, when you go to the other towns across the country, you are seeing them, of course, there in their numbers. So we know, yeah.
And not only that too, Lennox Smith, the young female Venezuelans and them, they make them feel like that.
Yeah, well, obvious, because they believe that is one way to stay in the country without having, of course, to face immigration. But that too is complicated because there is a requirement in terms of time stayed, in terms of attachment to the society, whether they went to school, etc. And somebody must have some kind of record of you. So it's not as simple as some people may think by just making a child. But what it does, of course, is commit the other party, the other spouse, whether it's male or female, to, of course, that child, and therefore the adult may feel a little more secure there because of that arrangement. I am sure that it is not perfect in each case, but certainly it's a general logical and common sense reasoning why, of course, the children, part of it is an important factor to tie them to Trinidad.
One more thing before I go, Lennox. One more thing before I go.
Go ahead.
Kamala and the UNC have to find some way, somehow, to get Rowley and then to call this election or get him out as fast as possible, because the revelation what Samuel Stafford talked about, I have seen this thing as clear as day, and Lennox, it is not a good sign for Trinidad and Tobago. Why these African peoples and them here only studying carnival and party and this and that, and all of the government using to blindside them, you know.
But yeah,
I
want to tell you, I want to tell you, in spite of all of that, is not all the majority of the Africans are not of that ilk, and you will see that reflected in the elections. I caution people not to speak so generic. Otherwise, of course, you give the PNM more ideas to further, of course, increase the undermining agenda of the elections and to stay in office by way of what is called an auto coup. And we will try to, as much as we can, to resist and to decrease that tendency. But go ahead. That's it?
Yes, no.
Okay.
Dr.
I thank you very much. Go ahead, caller. Where are you calling from?
Good night, Mr. Lennox.
Where are you calling from? Yeah, where are you calling from? Good night. Where are you calling from?
Mr. Lennox?
Yes? Yeah.
Good night.
Good night. I want to know where you're calling from, so if somebody has called to interrupt you, I can tell them, Mr. Sinbad.
I am calling from Laventille East.
Right, okay, right. So, Mr. Laventille, go ahead.
Mr. Lennox?
Yes.
I was listening because sometimes I just had things to do, so I'll be a little off sometime.
No problem.
And then I'll jump back on. I want to tell the Prime Minister, this is the second time, or maybe the third, I ain't for correction, that he disrespecting the police service. And the leader of the police service, what he used his majority in the parliament to put there without a plan, and then extend her term to next year, and then telling we, the public, that the police has been locking up in station, hiding from the criminals. I want to tell Dr. Rowley, it is numbered, and he mini-me, Stuart Young, is number 2. Because telling we that police that we lock up in station hiding, that shows plain that the government is incapable. This government that we have here now is incapable of protecting us as a citizen. Because you put somebody that you use your majority to appoint as the head of the police force, and she don't have a clue. And I want to say it have plenty good police that is doing their job to the best of their ability. They have expired bulletproof vests. They had been pleading with the government after they perform the duty for them to get something where they call a keep and carry for the job that they're dealing with these days, after the Prime Minister gives leeway to Venezuelan in our country and allegedly machine gun on every corner. So if I am a police officer performing my duty without fear or favor, and when I leave the police station, I don't have nothing to give me a fighting chance, and then you're telling me I'm locking up. I just want the police officers who is listening to this conversation or listening to this program, if it's so to speak, remember Dr. Rowley, remember the PNM, remember Stuart Young, remember Hines. These are the people that make the decision to have we where we are today and in the position that we is after 9 consecutive years. We're afraid to come out with place. We're afraid to leave with kind with ignition. We are afraid of everything, and the Prime Minister and his cabinet did not get the country in this condition when he took it over in 2015. So I just pleading to the police officers, the good law-abiding police officers who don't uphold the law without fear or favor. Remember Dr. Rowley, We have an election to come just now. Remember Mini-Me, which is Stuart Young. And let me get them the hell out of office. And when I say hell, all of them. We don't want none of them. According to the last man who said it was told the non-petrogen, all. And don't want nobody call me phone and say this one, all have to go. Because we had enough. We had enough of Dr. Rowley. We had enough of the PNM. We had enough of every living thing that comes from the People's National Movement. Because up to now, I can't even name 10 things in Laventille that benefiting the people of Trinidad or benefiting the people of Laventille.
Yes.
Wait till a swimming pool. A swimming pool, I think only go through that.
The man say,
that is create employment for me.
The man say he break it, the first estimate was 25 million and he got billed for 5 million. And some nincompoop was telling me that is the same swimming pool. So
nonsense.
So I say we should change Laventille again. Laventille. They don't want to see that reality. But the business. There's not as blind as who refuse to see.
And I was listening to the last caller.
Yes.
Where all the majority of the African people in Trinidad and Tobago, which is the right-thinking citizens, they want change.
Yeah.
So we're not dealing with who want a party or who wanted this. At the end of the day, we have to enjoy ourselves, you know. Because we will go sit down and cry, but we waiting. We set. We ready. We ID card working. Don't care where they come with. We will get rid of them. And one more thing before I leave.
Go ahead.
A birdie pinched me.
Yeah.
And you will be there to correct me, like always. That if Stuart Small Pinyoung when he becomes or whatever, the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, and he stay one day as the Prime Minister, he would be getting $87,000 for the rest of his life.
Yes, as pension, yes.
So like this thing set up, these men like wood lice eating wood where they went.
Yeah, is a double whammy. It's a double whammy. In one session, you have two prime ministers who will, of course, be the beneficiaries of the revised salary. And even if it wasn't revised, he was getting it. He was getting that emolument after, because once the president sign off, that's it. You are a legitimate bona fide eligible prime minister, and therefore all the perks goes with it.
And before I go, one more thing. I was now listening to almost the end of the pavement report that keep in the Lions Den, Mr. Munilal constituency.
Yes.
And I heard him said, or Barry Padarat said, that he asked the Prime Minister, you're only going, but the end of February, this pay this $80-something thousand, everything would be in place to start to receive it.
Yeah.
So he give we a little shake off. Wait till we want to attend the some last summit that they have in Liamotli or Miamotli country. So everything this man he just bright to feel he could continue tricking the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. But Dr. Rowley and Stuart Young and the PNM and all who supporting multitude to do evil, we go deal with that.
Yes, man. All right, thank you very much.
So you have a blessed one. Always thank you for the for making this contribution, Mr. Lennox.
Thank you, Laventille.
And blessed.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Laventille. Yes, indeed. Well, I want to say that do not be surprised if the taking of that money is part of the deflection mechanism of the PNM. You see, you cannot trust them, because we know they have stolen money enough to, of course, have them organized for the rest of their life. But of course, the back pay will suggest that, and that money would suggest that, listen, they didn't steal anything, and when they start to buy up land and house and so on and look as though they're living voluptuously, they could say, well, we just got a back pay. That, I think, is more significant for that than anything else, because they have stolen enough not to take it, but they have taken it in order to cover up, to camouflage. But let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Pleasant night, Mr. Lennox.
A pleasant good night to you as well, my friend.
Yes, and all those locked on and all those who coming on, your numbers.
Yes, man. Yes. We're going up to 20,000. We want to 20,000 a night.
Yeah,
so,
keep pushing.
Yeah. We up
Keep
to
pushing
5
it up,
already, so we had to get 15 more. But go ahead, yes.
Stand for something before you fall for anything.
Huh?
What I want to say, right? What I want to say. I was taken into the Public Accounts Committee concerning Paria and Heritage.
Okay.
I send the clip for you.
Okay, great.
Brother?
Great. Thanks, yes.
Brother, listen now, man. If you take some time and sit down and listen to what's going on, the kind of racket that's going on right now, just imagine the commoner sit down in the front row with this other guy, the Prime Minister real partner.
The husband of the Speaker.
Newman George.
Newman George, yes, the husband of the Speaker.
And every time,
yes.
Listen, you see Mr. Wade Mark? They can't handle him. The kind of questions they put into him, he put into them actually. He told them that he want them to get all the books and accounts in order for the next 2-3 months, or else it will be nice. So if you could check out that clip,
I will certainly. That's important because people, that is why we are not getting foreign exchange, and foreign exchange is the lifeblood of Trinidad and Tobago. We will not be able to get a pin, a tie, a shirt, a good pong of flour if we do not have foreign exchange. That is how fundamental it is to the economy of Trinidad and Tobago. And these people have mismanaged to such a degree that we now are tinkering on the brink of not being able to have that. You think Haiti is far away from us? You think Somalia is far away from us? You think even an environment such as that in Venezuela is far? We will see. But of course, thank God we have an election. That is the savior. And that, of course, we will get rid of them before we sink to the bottom. Go ahead.
There was an issue that raised about $200,000 that was sent to some unscrupulous individual. They don't know well who signed off the $200,000
Wow.
Man, if you with your expertise, you will be able to decipher.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? You will be able to decipher what is the whole structure of that problem there.
Okay.
So have a blessed night, right?
Immediately, I recall when you say that, the zip line with, of course, Tricky Tracy in Tobago. And, of course, there was another issue in Tobago where some monies was taken out from a bank account and sent to a foreign one. And the next thing, they don't know who take it out. But the money disappeared in the other bank. They can't even reverse the transaction. And then, of course, in the case of Tracy, there was this zipline project that they said that they purchased, of course, equipment for that purpose, and the Auditor General officials couldn't even find a piece of string, far less for a rope. But that is how it is under the PNM, and of course, they claim that they are sincere about the management of the country's resources, transparent, etc. But when we ask questions, well, of course, non-disclosure clauses. Non-disclosure clauses.
Let me leave you with this.
Go ahead.
Right? You know what my grandmother always used to say when something missing? She say, "It take foot and walk away." Have a blessed night.
Yeah, and I say that inside here too. When somebody don't want to move a plate or something, I say, "What happened?" But it go walk into the sink for itself. You know, so I empathize. I empathize with what you're saying. I have it here home as well. Yes, indeed. People. Yeah. Thanks very much for that intervention. People, you may be wondering why I have that video playing in the back of me there. Well, it's very simple. Of course, as I said, PNM's business at this point in time is our business. Why? Because they are the legal entity recognized for managing our affairs. And as citizens of this country, they are responsible for the management of our resources, financial and otherwise. And therefore, we have a duty, if you want to say MACO, to MACO, and to make certain that they do so with transparency, in spite of the clandestine nature of this government's preference. But we need to, of course, expose them. We will talk a little more about it after this call. Professor, good night. Welcome.
Hey, good night. Good night.
Good night, my friend. Boy, Ahmad had to call me and tell me it's not Thursday, it's Wednesday. I think it is Thursday.
Yeah, no, I hear it. I said, what Lennox saying that? But I was going to correct you after somebody did it already.
First I want to rest. I said Thursday.
You're tired, man.
Yeah,
too much,
yeah, but go ahead.
Too much things going on one time, man.
Oh gosh, yes, boy. These people, they're just piling it on, and of course, and you have to decipher everyone. But of course, our tenacity is probably much more greater than their ability to offload as much as diversion as possible. But we will get there. Go ahead, my friend. Where horse reach, donkey will reach. Go ahead.
Yeah. Lennox.
Hey.
I'm going back to refresh your mind about something here.
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to know. I want you to think about. No, I'm not making an accusation. Just an assumption.
Yes.
Right? Who was the minister, energy minister before? I can't remember. I'm not sure, but I haven't got many.
Khan.
Of Stuart Young.
We had Khan.
No.
And then we had another one after him.
I can't recall that. I don't think so.
No, it's Khan, because Khan died and the cabinet had to be reshuffled. Stuart Young was taken off from Ministry of National Security and placed there. And then, of course, I think Hines eventually got a space, and of course, proved as normal to be most incompetent, indolent, and of course, resulting in the highest amount of murders ever in Trinidad and Tobago, resulting under his stewardship. But Khan is the man that preceded him.
You're a bright fellow. I know he's a bright fellow. Stick outside him. Why Stuart Young there? You have to remove somebody to put somebody, right? At all cost.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it takes. I'm not going to say. You think. You think outside the box. You do not bypass anything that's PN.
Oh yeah. I agree. That's why I call him a criminal enterprise. I call him a criminal enterprise for very specific reasons. Yes. Yeah.
Those things that happen is a coincidence.
Yeah.
Because
Khan died.
In order to deal, died.
Yeah.
He died. He died. Well, I don't think he died. But think you know what I'm coming from.
Yeah.
Right? So who would deal with Maduro and things? Khan wasn't doing that. Khan was doing that? No. Stuart Young.
Yeah.
So they have to replace somebody.
Yeah. So are you saying that Khan would have been removed anyway because of Stuart Young's intrinsic involvement in so-called negotiations, Delcy Rodriguez, Vista officials, and
they couldn't remove him.
And today I was moved to laughter because when they say that he was taking these large sums of money, our money, to go to Venezuela over 11 trips for the period that was under consideration, and that he had an interpreter, and I remembered because outside of the Oval, when of course they were making they were being unruly in terms of lining up and so on, he got on a bullhorn and started to tell the people who are speaking Spanish in English to, of course, behave themselves, get in line, etc., etc. And I was laughing because I said, well, listen, look at this buffoon. He's talking to no one, but of course looking for cameras and so on to show that he's working. And now we know that he would carry an interpreter, which means he cannot speak Spanish. But go ahead.
Yeah, but you know,
I'm
coming to a point. I don't know. I don't know if you get the point.
Yes.
I don't know if you get the point. I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it because.
Well, if they have to get rid of him,
so
one way or another.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. I mean,
all course.
Yeah. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure that one out. Go ahead.
Okay, Daniel.
Yes.
Okay, next point.
Go ahead.
But one of these, you shit will hit the fan and you would, right?
Yes.
Now, next thing, talking about the guy who was talking about
Mr.
before
Faizaman,
that.
hold on. I have a United States caller on. Go ahead, Ben.
Okay,
Go ahead, Ken. Yeah.
Remember, I told you. I don't know how long, and you said it, and people coming up with the same thing. Know what I was saying?
Yes.
Now, when you, over here, I'm drawing a reference. I'm putting that one guy said about Canada, but
Yes.
I will give you some idea right now.
Uh-huh.
Haitian people coming here, United States, in Florida, called Deerfield Beach. They have a committee called the Haitian Community.
Right.
Right. In Miami, they have the Cuban community.
Right.
The infrastructure, the whole of Miami. Now, let me tell you something. That was not like that. People coming in boat illegally, they coming over there and they stay and they give them the amnesty or whatever.
Right. Okay.
No, they bear one woman, bear 2 or 3 children. Asian, they make a lot of children. They got 4 or 5 of them. And over the years, it grows to so many. They have a whole Haitian community down in Deerfield Beach.
Right.
And the Cuban. Now this thing here, what the man was talking about Trinidad, maybe I told you that. The Venezuelan, a woman to make 2 or 3 children in about 20, I told you the same thing. In about 20 to 20 years, you will see how Trinidad coming into.
Oh yeah.
I tell you that. Remember I told you that?
Yeah.
I told that years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, but I can recall that very well.
Yes,
now,
yes,
it's coming to reality.
Yeah.
Now it's coming to reality, Mr. Lennox. And if you don't stop it, you're in trouble. The whole, your children, and somebody else will be very instinct. You'll be like, history.
Yeah. Well, I suppose we can learn from what is happening and what has happened in the United States, because the Latino community
I give you an example.
is, of course, a significant.
I give you an example right there.
Yeah, constituency especially for the politicians and many of that stock will end up, of course, being leaders and the decision makers. Once you have, of course, that level of population numbers, in other words, to, of course, form what in politics is always about the numbers, and therefore, in quick time, that is quite a possibility. So, I take note, and of course, Kamala Persad-Bissessar clearly has also take note, and that is why, of course, just as Trump, she talks about, of course, illegal Venezuelans being here, must be, of course, deported back to their country, because it is creating too much pressure, and of course, that possibility of infusion into the mix, the cosmopolitan nature of our population mix may have that,
right.
And of course it may eventually be a significant portion to treat with in future. Go ahead.
No, I'm trying to tell you. No, you know, Florida is big. No, Florida is big, very big. They have a lot of land and the houses are plenty. We got accompanied a certain amount of people. We understand that. But Trinidad cannot. But when I go to Miami to do freight, all these people here. You back up. I go in the office, talk to them. Can I bill a living? You talk to them. I don't. Me know English. You know English? How long? Come in and ask you. Ask them how long they over here. Oh, 10, 15 years. 15, 15. Yeah, yes, go ahead. They can't talk one word. They say, I don't have, you know what they say? They can talk. They say, I don't have to talk English.
I hear you. So they can change the language too.
I am telling you what's going to happen over there.
Yeah, change language. Change language too, man. It's no longer English, it's Spanish. All right.
Right, you can do it. All right, that's somebody else.
We have 2 callers on. All right, go ahead, Mr.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Faizabad. Mr. Faizabad, go ahead.
Good evening, Mr. Lennox,
Yeah,
and
same
all
to you, my
your
friend.
listeners.
Yes.
And share the life. Uncle Lennox,
Hey.
the hard and brutal way, I ain't giving up on you, you know.
I hear you.
And here what's going on. I find, it had a call I used to say, Lennox, I find you're going too easy, you know. But end that quote. But Uncle Lennox, this is your humble servant Faizabad. Do you see the lacquer and the nastiness in the PNM organization? What they're doing to this country?
Oh,
Did
yes.
you see it?
I mean, that's why we have that video playing in the background. When we get a chance, I'm sure that you would have, something would have been triggered in you to, of course, seeing that to make your contribution tonight as well.
Yeah, because when Stuart Little was handed the leadership of the black diaspora, who was for 60 years, the black and proud. And then when the black and proud divided, they separated the water from the oil. And they had the steam drain up the water and the oil. They call them into Balize house and cosplay them one another and tell anything looking black, here what's going on is chomming and rice and chasu dog. We go down and get them to eat.
I hear you.
And shut all their mouth. Shut all their mouth. And we say this, or I tell all them, we is one love and we together. But you know what? When all that BS was going on, I will have respect because you teach me, you just teach me how to talk with respect. I usually try to use some letters, right?
I hear you.
So the BS, while there was diverted the attention, while Kwamena and Mustaq, right? Mustaq Mohammed in Paria answers, and he and George, you and George have to answer for corporate manslaughter. You see how the PNM protect the agent? But what hurted me, and they will hate him a tune, that these dogs and them, all of them is I don't deal with it, just no. I'm glad you tell me it's something triggered me. Because they're only saying that by the end or the middle of February, they will get the preferred by our Lisa, the police or the refinery.
Yes.
But we know how to see, just as the scenario went on in Balize House, 9 and 11. You see how all of them come 21 now? Eh? So, if we know that is the way they're going to do to say who to get the refinery. But I wonder if it have any black PNM supporters listening to this program tonight. Because I can't see that they come up with a plan so great, and I tell you, we did discuss this. That when come next year is COVID, they see how the COVID, the upswing of the virus, some come out and talking. Then they come up and I say all sort of things. They will come with to divert the attention to delay or to the muzzle we. They come with the anti-story. No, They're saying by February they're going to sell the refinery or lease it out. They have a state of emergency with no curfew, and then you see they give the criminal elements a discount. So anybody who decides to have an illegal or any citizen, they get a discount under this time, because the normal law in normal time tell them is 100,000 and 10 years. But in the curfew, they reduce it. They give them a discount.
So, caller, hold on. I have Mr. Faizabad still on. Go ahead.
Twin City.
Twin City, right. Thanks, Twin City.
So I would like to know, Uncle Lennox, if we as a citizen could file an injunction, and because you see the nastiness in there do, to dissipate the asset, the state asset, he put it for the minister to have the say. So now we finally go and jump up. So when it's jumping up there now, we cash earning, and for an exchange earner, they go on through the door.
Go through the door, yes. Of course, it will be diverted to private interest, yes, and not for the benefit of the state or the population of Trinidad and Tobago, except for whatever they got through whatever IPO or the sale of that particular asset. All right, that's it.
Yeah.
Right.
No, because just imagine when the union made the deal, it's for $4.something billion.
Yeah.
They said that Paria was part of it. No, Newman George say, and Mustaq say, is not Paria. Mustaq Mohammed say, is not Paria going to get it. It's just you refinery now. So they drop the price automatically.
Oh, I see.
You see how smart it is?
I see.
I only hope people listen.
They make it much more salubrious, much more inviting.
Affordable.
Yeah, inviting because what that tells me that they're desperate. So they want to effect a sale at all costs, again to the detriment of Trinidad and Tobago, because of course remember, Patriotic did in fact offer $700 million to as part of their arrangement as part of their offer to operate the oil refinery, and they refused it. The government refused it, and they said they were acting in our interest. Imagine that you have a $800 million bullet payment, and you're getting $700 million, and you decide to forego that when you could have put that towards the bullet payment, and you would have now only had to pay $100 million. I mean, these fellas are simply criminals, and they must be, of course, I say they are treasonous, and they must, of course, be subjected to the highest, what I consider to be sanction a country could give for anybody in that kind of position that has betrayed the people in that way. It must be treason.
So I just only ask you now, the voters at the PNM base all wake up and understand 9 years are nothing, then 2 more years are nothing, and then they're going to sell everything. We end up with nothing. Have a pleasant good night.
Yes, indeed. Of course. And to tell us to wait until 2027 tells me that was one of the reasons why it was impossible to conclude that Rowley was looking at his departure at that point in time. Something else happened, and as I said, of course, we inferred the United States, Donald Trump, and of course sanctions and money laundering. All of those are in the matrix, and of course it will over time be revealed to Trinidad and Tobago, because Kamala Persad-Bissessande, if not somebody else externally, will certainly, of course, give us the truth. Pleasant good night. Welcome, Twin City.
Pleasant good night. Good night, Lennox. Good night, everyone on the live.
Yes.
Lennox, remember the days when we have common entrance?
Oh, yeah.
And, well, I have something to tell you. You're looking sharp like a pencil, right? So, here we go. Here we go.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I hear something, but I just want to know, this is in your field, right? So, this is in education here. This is what I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
Now, we basically all our students have been lost for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
10 years, if you understand what I'm saying. They're backwards in 10 years. We lost 10 years.
Yeah, and just before you continue, I did say that there was some that were not found in the system, and I was talking about 9,000. But no, officially it's 2,000. I got that during subsequent.
Right, but
so
I'm saying for,
just
for the
just
past
for my
10 years.
thing.
Yes.
But go ahead.
Yeah. For the past 10 years.
Yeah.
So this is the question I'm going to be asking you now. How can we bring up the next 5 years or the next year, 2026? We in government.
Mm-hmm.
How can we bring up them to speed in a learning environment from primary school? Now I'm making a suggestion here. I don't know if it may work or not. It's just a suggestion. So maybe you could elaborate.
Yeah, go
or
ahead.
You could just say, well, the thing, right?
Yeah.
Now we have a terminology like whenever we're in class, talking about primary school or whatever.
Yeah.
Is you and you are alone. You have to learn your work. You have to do your work, and you have to achieve what you have to achieve at the end of the semester. So the question is, when we having cricket, football, basketball, all these sports are referring to basically, except in cycling, which is an individual sports, and table tennis and certain things. But I'm talking about group sports.
Yes.
With all the group getting together and achieving what they have to achieve in the long run, there's no way they're going to win. They have to come together and go forward, right?
Yes.
So in the school system, we have this thing of giving each other competition. If there's any way we could do in the future a pilot program, I'm talking about in the primary schools, get these teachers and them up and running. Get them in primary school, maybe from standard 3, I would say, or 4 between there, and group them, because by then they will know who's the weak ones and who's the strong ones, and group them and teach them as a group rather than an individual. So you get everybody communicating, the parents communicating with the other parent to get their homework done, and all. I mean, vice versa. I mean, they're gonna have certain groups in like the PTA and all that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the actual. In other words, then if let's say the class is 20, it will be more or whatever. But let's say it's 20. Yeah. They will have a group of 5, one and 4s. I mean, well, five students in each group, and those 5 students will more or less compete with the next thing. So in other words, then the weak ones will help the strong ones. So in other words, then they are physically copying. But the day of the exam, that's where it's separated. If you understand what I'm saying, if they have to do a test, then it's individual. But for learning purposes, to go up, they will be learning as a group. Because if like Lennox, like you might be very educated, but I could tell you, Lennox, this is a nail. This is not a pencil. This is a nail, because you don't know. So that's what I'm trying to get at. So you get the weak ones, where the teacher itself will analyze them and process them in the earlies, so they know who's weak and who's strong. Mix them so they will help the weak ones. So at the end of the semester, they put them in the exam room individually. They will almost have the same playing field, and we might be able to push the education system faster. Then we get a lot of them falling behind. I mean, we got to change the game in education. I mean, I'm just thinking about something.
Well, I don't know. I would like to tell you, go to the top of the class. So that's a fantastic suggestion. Now, that occurs in the secondary system. Even when I was at training college, that group treating with particular content material and getting the assignment done, and within the group, of course, everybody have their respective roles to play, who making the final presentation, who, of course, is doing a research in a particular area of the subject for which we have been given the assignment, etc. I think it can. And why I'm commending you as well is because I tried that when I was, of all places, I used to teach at Piccadilly Government. I mean, that is the toughest of the toughest, eh?
Well, I'm not cutting across here. I used to teach the YTEP at Success Lavington. So
well, beautiful.
that's
so
why
you understand the socio-economic grouping we are talking about here, and of course the what I consider to be the catchment area itself, hard, tough area. And what I would do in my experience, recognizing that when you are gifted, or you are paying attention, or that you have support at home, the likelihood that that student will be doing better than others who don't have that. But the likelihood that maybe half of your class may well be in that category of persons who do not have the help at home. What do you do when the brighter ones, let's put it that way, want to go on, but you want to hold back to benefit, of course, the slower ones, and you have a lot of what I consider to be misbehavior and frustration and so on. So what do you do? Well, listen to my solution was, at the end of the month, I would spend about $300-400 out of my pocket. Everybody will be given a box of chicken and chips, right? If the slowest person in the class pass my end of month test. You know what I'm saying? I say that everybody will get a box of chicken if the slowest one. So exactly what you are saying there is what that triggered. The brighter ones now no longer, of course, frustrated and want to move on, but they want to help that slow one, because the passing of the test. The passing of the test will determine whether you get chicken and chips or not. Of course, invariably, even though...
So exactly.
That's what I'm talking about. You have to find techniques to make them...
you have to tweak it, because my own was, I was used as, remember, these are kids. These are, in my eyes, these are babies. Yeah. So we could play with it, with good education with them, and get them to where it was supposed to be. Yeah. So my thing was, we know we have a lot of superheroes now. We have girls and boys or whatever. So, but you put a lot of superheroes, and they have to pick their superhero, and they have to eliminate. They will have to be part of that. This is the Black Panthers. This is the Iron Man. Whatever it is in that particular group. And every week you have a score on the board, and you're seeing their progress. So what I'm trying to say is that, for instance, you're doing a simple math subject or whatever, and you're teaching them from the basic. You have everyone, somebody just like when I used to play piano.
I'm sold. I understand exactly what you're saying, because of course,
like when we what we used to do. I used to be playing with Potential Symphony up in Malik, because that's where I'm from, basically.
Right.
So what happened? We were section leaders. We get the music and we pass it on. It's the same process, because everybody has to do that in order to achieve the goal.
Yeah, the least of them all, once they come up to scratch. It means you would have achieved the goal,
and you see them
of everybody, of course, being able to paddle their own.
Because I would never get to them, but you might quicker get to them.
Yeah.
Whenever you get to them, to the hierarchies, and you can introduce that to them before somebody else take it and run with it. Let us try and flip the switch, as they would say, and get those kids now coming up in 2026 to be a level that will just explode as it keeps because it's like a filter, so it just keeps going up and going up.
I hear you. But again, of course, everybody must be on board. Those who are responsible.
But that's what I'm saying. You have to get the teachers in. Yeah, the teachers you have to get it starting. Get with the teachers.
The ministry itself as well.
The ministry. And have an open
because I used to do it on my own volition with my own resource. But if you're talking about a nationwide initiative, that has a built-in success story.
Yes.
I take what you're saying. Yeah.
All right, but don't forget, before I go and sleep, you have to call this man, whatever it is, this Kobo and this thing and this. I can't.
I hear you, my friend.
All right, Lennox. So you have a good night. All right.
Same to you, my friend. And I'm glad that you raised that topic, because, of course, it is about, of course, the creativity and the ingenuity of those who are in the system itself and have the responsibility of educating their charges. And you have when you see that one is slow, when you see one is violent, one is disturbing, etc., you have to find ways and means. You cannot just say that, listen, he don't want to learn or she doesn't want to learn, and you leave it alone. No, I am not that type of person. I remember very, very distinctly, even when I started the MLIO trade school, and we had, of course, that kind of element. You're talking about those who ain't interested in school at all. You're talking about those who were being part, comparatively speaking, of those who making less than 30%, and therefore is considered to be elements that will not find themselves, of course, maybe being a teacher, being a doctor, etc., etc. But I can tell you, among them, there are potentials. But of course, it is the system created by the people and the efforts of those within the system to motivate those young people in order to make it happen. I was very pleased when, of course, teaching now is said to be. There was a time, like when I grew up, there was a time when they would say that a teacher, if you can't do the person's, or if you can't pass a person's test, a teacher's test, that was considered to be a big thing for the teacher, because you can't pass my test. Now, of course, the concept is that if they can't pass your test, then teaching didn't take place. That's a wonderful principle. If you can't pass my test, teaching didn't take place. So it forces the practitioners, the teachers, the pedagogues, teachers, to, of course, be creative in order to make sure that the students pass their test. So what he is talking about clearly would be incorporated into a system like that, and that understanding, in order, of course, to get everybody to play their part, because every human being has a contribution to make to his or her society, himself, and of course his family, his or her family. Good night, welcome. Where calling from?
Hello, good night. This is San Fernando. Wayne.
Yes, San Fernando.
This
welcome.
is Wayne.
Bye-bye. Yes.
I'm listening to the program here, and the guy talking about Whitehead.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we were the founders of that institution, right?
Yes.
Jan Keto and a whole lot of us from San Fernando.
Right.
But what I used to do when teaching kids, you have to be creative.
Of course.
It
must be. Yeah.
No, I would ask the brighter students what they like. Right now, when you ask what they like you take a song, a particular song. Like I used to play a Jimmy Cliff song, right? You can get it if you really want. You remember that song by Jimmy Cliff?
You can get it if you really want. If you try, etc., etc.
And sometimes we would play that song, or we would sing it. Right? And the brighter ones would encourage the ones who are much slower to even sing the song.
Beautiful.
Some people are some people are shy.
Yes.
Right? So it used to bring out the shyness from some of them. So you get a result that is creative.
Yeah,
and
you in the situation, you have to find ways and means. I find it abdicating of responsibility when a teacher says he or she want to learn. That is taking a shortcut way out, and really and truly, you should be in teaching if it is that you have drawn that kind of conclusion about a student or several students that you may be encounter with. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm glad you used the word shortcut, because you see, you can't use any shortcuts in trying to learn. You must let
to
your
deliver the material,
also.
Because you're talking about potential criminal, you're talking about potential suicide, you're talking about potential antisocial behavior. I mean, you're talking about people who may be uncultured, even though they may be working in a close contact environment, like in a factory, as the case may be. And you are interdependent. Who's sweeping, who picking up the garbage, who maybe sewing, who cutting, as the case may be. And therefore, it's just like the army. You have to depend on your fellow men or women in order, of course, to get the job done. But go ahead, my friend.
But what I want to say too is that you must let your students know that they have to work for what they want. People, even with me, right? Right now, I'm into music and that kind of stuff, and it's taking me some time to even practice a song. So you had to let your students know that this thing takes time. Teaching is what I would want to say is not an easy process, but you have to let your students know that they have to work. If you don't work, you don't get anywhere.
Yeah.
No, you're right. So you have to drum that in the head.
Yeah, you're quite right. And of course, practice and regurgitation and repetitiveness is a fundamental part of learning. When not because you get something wrong, you would say, well, listen, you give up. No, you find out why you get it wrong. You ask why you get it wrong, and then of course you know that you can't get that wrong again, and you continue. Right. And you continue and continue until, of course, you get it. I'm being as detailed as this because I want, I'm sure teachers are also listening, and I'm sure students are listening, and therefore they may want, some of them that are watching us here now, may want to get what is considered to be the ZEPI or the fundamental or the secrets of learning. Well, that is what Rowley did. He repeat. Practice lies, and that is what we are getting today, right? So he has become an expert in that. So if you practice the truth as well, you have a benefit to get as well, but not the one that ultimately will be the destiny of Rowley. He is destined for a fall that, because evil could never prevail over good. But go ahead, my friend.
But the benefit in truth is much better.
Yes, of course. That's right. Do it honestly. Do it with what is expected within the rules, and so on and so forth. Because there are several things I always tell my son. Of course, mathematics. Well, there are rules, and if you break the rules, you're going to get your material wrong. And of course, if you can show how you get there, even though your method was right, but the number in terms of the answer was wrong, you still will get some marks because you show that you understand the concept, which is important in order to get. Eventually, you will get it correct on each occasion.
But why I say that the benefit in truth is better than the benefits in lies is because sometimes when I work in right and I can't get it, I will put it down, come back, and when I do get it, right, and I expose it to other people, right? There is an elated feeling which will come back to you.
Yeah, of course. A personal satisfaction, personal gratification that you have, of course, not only overcome, but you are able to share.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's my contribution tonight.
Thank you very much, of course, for that. And please, of course, bring your ideas as well, because this is not about harping on what the issues are in terms of the negative. We God knows we have enough negatives and so on, but built into what we are saying and doing, of course, are solutions. Every time we speak, take for instance the picture in the back of us, of course, the video in the back of us. What it suggests, it making comparison between, of course, someone who clearly is a neophyte, just started, and of course given an opportunity. In other words, he pants too big for your waist, and then of course you have, of course, a season one, of course, Penelope Beckles, who has been around and of course have a lot of experience behind it. But at the end of the day, both of them have joined the wrong party, a criminal enterprise, and therefore they are unfit, both of them, to be Prime Minister. That's the point I'm making with that video. Go ahead, caller. Where are you calling from? Caller? Good night. Good night, caller. Caller, go ahead. All right, we lost that one. Maybe got a little scared. But that's the point I am making with respect to that video in the back there. That both of them cannot, because they are part of an institution that has failed and failed and failed and failed. And the more, of course, we are enlightened as to the performance of the PNM over the years, the claim of longevity, the claim of being there longer than anybody else is irrelevant when one, and it's absolutely oshios, nonsensical, and of course it's at best a specious argument, a questionable argument, because the UNC was there a very short time, whether it's under Pandey, whether it's under Kamala Prasad Bisesa, and what they would have done equals, if not surpasses, the length of time over 40 years that the PNM was in office. That's a measurable fact. You can measure that. 106 schools in 5 years. That from when we hear Rowley, that is an impossibility. So he keeps regurgitating. I want to find out where the schools are. When he gets it now, he gone silent because he thought before it was impossible for that to happen. But a pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor. Where are you calling from?
Yes, Mr. Yes, me again, Sandu.
All right, go ahead, Sandu.
No. Always remember, don't try to comfort somebody with lies. Hurt me with the truth.
Yes.
Don't comfort me with lies. And you could only teach what you've been taught.
I hear you.
Right?
I hear you.
As a teacher, you can't teach what you've not been taught. Parents are the first teachers in a child's life. You don't expect an academical teacher to teach your child morality. That is the job of the parents. When you send your child to school, the duty of the teacher in school is to teach your child academics.
The content, the syllabus, the syllabi, and the curriculum. Go ahead.
Yes, but the parents' job is to teach the children or the child moral values. So when that child learns that way from home, respect, responsibility, self-control, honesty, and all these things, when that child goes to school, make the job of the teacher easier.
That's right.
The teacher wouldn't have to be shouting. That is not the job of the teacher. The teacher is not being paid to teach the child moral values. When you have it today, well, it comes as a strain to teachers today because they have to do the both of them, right? That is why you see a lot of children just end up behind the class. Now, if the leader of the government was taught lies in all his life, then he's going to set that example. You hear me?
Yeah, but when you think, even if he didn't, because he doesn't claim to say that he was taught that. In fact, those institutions of social control, those institutions like the family, the church, the school, etc. He seemed to be always saying, particularly when the churches are concerned, that he was well brought up into the philosophical and the ethical values that these religions would have imparted to their subject or their congregation. Yet still, he has turned out that way, a despicable, dishonest rapscallion. And therefore, along the way, he must have dumped what he would have learned, and of course pick up these qualities that clearly have not benefited him nor the country. But of course, with the fullness of time, we will get the full impact. Hello? All right, yes indeed. So I thought I should just interject that as well, because that happens. And that is why there are teachers who will give up and say, listen, I am not prepared, of course, to go through that. That is too much work. I'm not here for that. Of course, what the caller referred to is what is called in education the affective quality. The affective qualities, of course, are those qualities, right and wrong, don't hang your hat where it can't reach, good morning, good afternoon, have a pleasant day, yes sir, yes ma'am, respect for your elders. All of that are the affective qualities. That is more abstract. And yes, fundamentally, the child is first contact with what is required in terms of values, in terms of what is acceptable, what is normative behavior begins at home. But the reality is that there are dysfunctional families as well. So the child goes to school, and of course, this one is a bit obscene, but I'll try to be as euphemistic as possible. Use a nice way to, of course, cover up what the example that I'm going to give you, because there's a standard in Laventille and so on, where, of course, a child being taught his alphabet, ABC, and then, of course, having difficulty with one of the letters, is A, B, C, and then, of course, the D. Can't remember D. So the mother would say, or the person who is teaching the child, that is so and so D. That is so and so D. So when the child goes to school, and of course, time to recite the alphabet, he say A, B, C, so and so D. And the teacher is in shock. But that is what he or she was taught at home. So there are dysfunctionalities that we have to grapple with as well, which, of course, again, the school is there, the education system is there to correct that. But you're quite right. Fundamentally, the child comes with, of course, his moral, ethical value system that is expected in the society for that individual to adapt and adjust. But sometimes you have what is called the subterranean culture, where, of course, these experiences, a fella wearing his pants below his bottom, for example, but sees it fit going for an interview to do the same thing. But the society does not acknowledge that as the format or the dress wear to, of course, to go and look for a job. So therefore, that individual is placed at a disadvantage, because somehow that is the only kind of clothes that they have. You wouldn't believe. I have seen it that a young man wants to go for an interview, but he says, listen, I don't have a soft pants. He has those pants that you have holes in them and so on and so on. And that is all they have. That is their wardrobe. So you have quickly to go and find. That is why I am of the view, and following up on Mr. Trincity's suggestion, that inside of the community itself, there are institutions particularly religiously oriented, because let's face it, the churches are the ones that impart, of course, the moral and ethical and the right and wrong values that, of course, the society then inculcates, assimilates, and express in their daily activities, wherever it is and whatever part of the country that you find yourselves. But inside of there, and I'm focusing here on the Laventille question, because I have raised that with several persons, including Manning. When we were there, I said, well, listen, the only church that is in the nook and cranny in every part of Laventille is the Baptist church. Baptist churches. You may have Assembly Church, but just for a catchment area. The Catholic Church will only, the Catholic Church for Laventille, the Catholic Church for Mova, whole of Mova. But inside there, the Baptist Church deals with one street, one neighborhood, within, of course, a party. In fact, where I'm from Passy Street, within a radius of about a kilometer, about, let me say, just short of a mile, I checked some 8 Baptist churches, each one serving and have their congregation. So there is a subset, there is a micro attention that is given to the community. Why not use these? They are already there. They interact with the community one way or another. They are respected. Why not provide the resources to these institutions? And this is not to say that the church must apply. If the government's role is to, of course, generate residents, citizens, that one, well educated, two, have a respect, of course, for the law and the rule of law, have high moral values, and of course, their interactive ability one to another is one that is not violent, is peaceful and progressive and amiable. Then that is your job as the government. Then why not use these micro level operatives inside of the subdivided parts of a particular community? And I talk about Laventille. And I tell you where I'm from, Passy Street. Some eight Baptist churches. And you give them the resources, financial and otherwise, education and so on, so as to deliver the moral and ethical and opportunities, of course, for work, etc. You wouldn't believe. You could see, of course, the transformation of Laventille. That is what we are talking about. That is what we are talking about. So the basic infrastructure is there. What happens is that big is best scenario, and those with more corn feed, more fowl. In other words, those who can rub shoulders with the decision makers, whether these decision makers at one time were insignificant, like the politicians, particularly within the PNM. Nobody knew them before. Nobody knew Stuart Young. But suddenly he could go in the parliament and believe he can call somebody Zami, a Zamius. He could arrogantly, of course, tell you what is for you or what is not for you, even though you are deserving. Doesn't know the history, a total ignoramus, and impose, of course, what I consider to be his ill-fated and misguided philosophy and action, utilizing the resources of the state, the money, and of course the physical plants, whether it be land, whether it be a building, whether the construction thereof, as the case may be. They don't know. And it is worse to when, of course, their actions is based on political enemy or non-enemy. So that is why the PNM is well known for the production of mediocrity, not meritocracy. That's why. Because you believe that your party members alone, who would of course be attached and loyal to your party, and therefore you believe you can take the monies from the treasury of the country and through the various votes, through the various ministries, and give it to your people alone, and believe that somehow, like the ostrich burying your head in the blasted sand, that Trinidad and Tobago will be fixed and everything is hunky-dory. You have to be a mad man and mad woman to be thinking that way in a cosmopolitan country, 1.5 million people, and you think it that biopic. No. You alone cannot run Trinidad and Tobago in that way. So whether you are Indian, you are Chinese, you are Portuguese, you are African, etc., the principle must be one of equity. You must also be sympathetic. And you must have a policy as far as possible of recognizing the various abilities of people, whether through the education system, outside of the education system, as the case may be, to contribute to the society for its advancement as far as the quality of life and standard of living that we all aspire to and believe that we can achieve with the resources that we have, per capita income, etc., being, of course, a basic measurement to determine whether or not equitable distribution is taking place, one, and two, whether or not we are pursuing, of course, a course of societal development that speaks to, of course, meritocracy. When you take away, for example, of the 400 national objective scholarships and reduce it to 100, and take the money according to them, myopic, dotish, asinine, and telling us that the 300 that you took away, you take that money and you put it into a bursary project administered by the Ministry of Education with some additional money, and you believe that somehow you have achieved something great. When in fact, the operationalization of it is that you have left it to the politicians who has a bias and in government and is in control of all of that. What you think will happen? A person from a PNM constituency or a PNM person well connected, all they have to do is pick up a phone and say, listen, this man needs, of course, a scholarship. He wants to go here or there. And next one say the same thing. And of course, the money in no time is exhausted and the objective is not achieved. That is to say, to broaden the opportunity base and the capacity building so that they can contribute to Trinidad and Tobago's development is stymied. Because you are talking about a bunch of mediocres who could have hardly passed an exam 3 and 4, 5 times. They had to, of course, sit over in order, of course, to pass one subject, etc. And then you give them all the resources, including, of course, those institutions that I talked about that have good connection, but doing the same work as those in places like Lavatil and so on, who you're giving nothing, and you expect that imbalance not to be reflected in the mashing up and the fragmentation of the society. Come on, let's go to the lines. Let's take another call here. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Pleasant good night again, Lennox.
Yes.
This is my final thing.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead, man.
Listening to the last,
you raised a
call.
topic there that I had to elaborate upon. But go ahead.
Yes, your last caller just raised that issue there,
Yeah.
and one of the things I was thinking about too is that when we talk about something now, we're talking about the bulliness and all these things that are taking place in these secondary schools and so forth.
Yeah.
Now, what it is, I'm making an next suggestion here.
Go ahead.
Now, if you know that this is a fact, this is fact. When Form 1s go into secondary school, Form 1s are usually timid. They are eager to learn. The ones who got scraped past the exam and end up there, they're very, very eager to learn. They're very eager. And they will go at any command because, why? They left the standard 5 with a simplicity of attitude, how it's supposed to be and how they're preparing themselves. So what happens now? They're getting the other 2, 3, 4, and 5 students infiltrating those little ones, and the cycle repeats itself. If you understand, with the school violence and all these things, it says to repeat itself.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying now, come 2026, when this new September school has started,
yes,
the Form 1s that goes into that school should be leaving that school at least half an hour before the actual school is over. Their class is half an hour before the school is actually over. And what happens is that from there and then, for the next 5 years, that class will be going half an hour right up to 4th form. And the reason for that is that they don't infiltrate the new ones that's coming in with a different attitude. I mean, you'll get some that might fall off the cracks, but it wouldn't be as much as it is, because what happened, if you allow them to go in Form 2 and over in the same time, that means that they're going to be all mixed up in there, and it's just going to continue. So what I'm trying to say, you do that for the first 5 years. So you kind of push out that type of behavior. And then you come back and you add back the half an hour, the half an hour for the following year. If you understand what I'm saying, we're trying to see if we could solve bullying, criminal activities, fights, and all these things that take place in some of the secondary school. Every time the school is called in September, somebody's child is being injured and all these things. Bullying is like, it's high up on the thing. So I think if we just do that, take half an hour before the school is action, and each form, as they keep going up, that particular form from 2026, and you take half an hour to have them to leave their classes and go home. Only like for the first year, the Form 1s, if it's 3 o'clock that school over, 2:30, their class is over, they have to leave the compound and go home. So there's no much communication with them, based on unless they have to wait for someone or whatever the case may be. But when they go to the Form 2, the same thing happens. So I don't know if it might work or not. Again, we're just trying to see if we could stop some of these things from happening. Because when you leave them and everybody leaves together and think, it's just a spinning top in mud. Spinning top in mud. You know, so let's see what we could do, what we can fix, and that would be great. All right, Lennox. So thanks again for my.
Yeah, no problem, man. No problem. I mean, and these ideas are extremely useful, and I am one, of course, for totality of policies. You cannot, for example, say that you spend money on education, and value for money, there is either a deficit or it is incongruent. No. If you're saying, as I said earlier on, that you want society to have citizens that are educated, that respect the rule of law, that has high moral and ethical values, that are extremely productive, something similar to our motto, national motto. And if we use that as the yardstick for the outcome, it means, therefore, all what you would have done up front, at the front end, must work towards that. Now, let's take that suggestion that the caller just gave. It means that if you were talking about half an hour earlier dismissal, and the objective, of course, is to eliminate as far as you can bullying and, of course, the fracas and the violence that is associated, or put another way, that those younger ones, just young in the sense that they now come into school, but they would have been, of course, age-wise as well, younger than those in Form 2, 3, 4, and 5, etc., and not being influenced by the culture of violence and so on. That's one aspect of it. But if it is that every succeeding Form 1 has to get half an hour, are you saying then that those who you try to prevent from being subjected to bullying themselves have somehow organized themselves and therefore would be bullies? That's asking, because you see, I like to think out policies. Now, but let me make the necessary adjustment here. I'm saying that Form 1 that is supposed to be getting a half an hour earlier dismissal, they must be subjected to some, what I consider to be civic and a responsibility in terms of their education package, in order, of course, to impact on their consciousness that the reason why they are going home is because you don't expect them to be bullied. You see, because some of the bullies may well come in that cadre of Form 1s because they come from an environment of bullying and violence. So they may come to school, irregardless whether they start in Form 1 or Form 2, as the case may be, with, of course, the attitude of what? Of violence. So therefore, there must be attention paid to that ultimate effort to prevent violence by, of course, having a special program inside of there that all of them are exposed to, even those who may see violence as par for the course when they go back to their homes and in their respective communities. Because that's where it starts. Quite apart, of course, what the school does is, of course, create more of those kinds of persons as they go through the system. Because, of course, as you rightly said, the elder ones will, of course, try to influence the younger ones, beat them up, etc., bully them, and all kinds of what I consider to be unhealthy scenarios could take place. So I thought it important, of course, that we trash out. So why is this a starting point? The objective, if it is to have a better docile school environment or school population, then of course that class of which he speaks must now be one that says no, violence cannot be, and therefore when they go to Form 2, Form 3, Form 5 and so there may be no need for other successive Form 1s to go home half an hour earlier. Because, of course, you would have started a culture in the school environment, in the school building, in the school scenario, situation that says that is not tolerated here. And, of course, it will come from those who are now senior in the school and may well protect and prevent. So I thought I should, make an input there in terms of adding to the what I consider to be the bare bone of that suggestion and just saying half an hour earlier. But let's go to the lines. President, good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Hi, good night, Mr. Lennox.
Yeah, good night to you.
So that previous caller made a very important point, right?
Go ahead.
Because you see, according to Albert Bandura's social learning theory, humans generally, talking about children in particular, they learn by imitating and modeling others, right?
Right.
Now, when these students come to these schools, from primary into secondary school, there's a culture, this behavior of bullying, indiscipline, being unruly.
The point I was making earlier. Yes. Go ahead.
It's a culture.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a school
from home.
culture.
Yeah. And it's from home.
Right?
Yeah.
Where these innocent, focused primary school students who have goals and intentions of coming to secondary school to pass, what ends up happening is because of the majority of the school is like that. They get pulled into that.
Yes.
All right? Because it is when you don't have a strong sense of purpose and a strong sense of character, it is very easy to fall into that category with the rest. Right?
Yes.
Another thing is one of the fundamental problems in secondary schools right now, all right, is, I would say, from what I have seen, is teachers not doing what they're supposed to be doing as teachers. All right?
Yeah.
And as time go by, because if I am a Form 1 student, I never forget when I now enter secondary school, you always know the strict teachers, and you always know the slack teachers, the permissive teachers who would allow you to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Right? Because teachers are permissive. I, as a student, feel that I could do what I want to do. But when I know there are certain teachers who don't play, they're very strict, they're very upright, they'll pull you up on any little thing that you do. I know to behave myself when they're there. Right? Now, teaching, I don't know any teachers I'm saying right now, in some of these schools, if they do what they're supposed to do as in Form 1, I always say as teachers, when new Form 1s come in, you must enforce your authority.
Right.
Let them know that. Now, what I'm saying is, you're not being harsh or rude or disrespectful or quarrelsome to them.
I hear you.
But you be firm. You be firm. You don't be too authoritative. You don't be too permissive. You take the middle part. That way, you talk to your students. They earn your respect because you show them respect. You earn their respect, and they would listen to you as a result of that. Now, as a form teacher, when you go, or a dean or whoever, when you go to these Form 1s, you let them know as it is. And anytime they slip up, you deal with it one time. And this is the problem we have in a lot of reports coming into teachers, and they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're not calling in parents. They're not liaising with whoever is in charge of these children.
Yeah.
They're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. All right, that is a fundamental problem. We have teachers not attending classes. We have teachers going to class and scrolling on social media throughout on their phone. This is the reality of it. We have teachers doing that. We have teachers not attending classes. So the fundamental purpose of teachers and their guidelines in which they're supposed to be following it in delivering the curriculum according to the Ministry of Education, it is greatly flawed. And something needs to be done about it, because I believe if teachers really put down their foot from the Form 1s...
Hold on, caller. We have another caller on the line. Yes,
if you do it in Form 1, as the last caller was saying, if you do it in Form 1 and these students know that this school is a no-nonsense school and these teachers don't play, then they will correct themselves into Form 2, Form 3, Form 4.
That's right. That's the point I'm making. You have a whole...
Not only that as well. Not only that as well, it's together with mentorship as well. You advise them, you correct them, and you try to get them to do better. That's it.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Because that's the point. He emphasized, of course, on the ecology of which I spoke. So simply saying half an hour is not sufficient. There must be a system where, of course, that initial, if you want to call that, basic grouping must be able, of course, to go through the school system, go through that particular school, and then impart it to those who are coming in after them the values that would, of course, desist in, of course, promoting violence, bullying, and, of course, in a learning environment that, of course, a teacher and learning environment that will, of course, be beneficial to the entire society, not just, of course, the teacher and the students and the institution, where this a very effective mechanism is being, of course, manifested. But let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night. Welcome. Pleasant good night. Welcome.
Lennox, you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Oh, boy.
Are you?
Yeah. It's 19
okay,
minutes past 10, so, oh gosh, boy.
All right. Go
ahead.
I'll try and make this snappy. And make this snappy on you right now.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Now, you spoke and you mentioned, you identify a word within your statement about a program.
Yes.
Trace your thoughts back. Could you remember the overview?
The overview. All right. Yes.
You know who talking to you right now?
Yes. I have an idea now. Yes, go ahead.
So you could remember the overview that I give to you?
Yes.
Concerning the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program? I never miss one of your programs.
All right.
It's because of the fact that I would like you, because obviously the way how things go, in the direction things going, right? We are looking for a new administration. Right?
Yes.
And you, as an influential individual in the position that you're in, I'm hoping that you will take that overview and see how far you could take it into the government, so that they could teach it in the schools. Remember, if you could go over it again, that will be a great thing.
Yeah.
Because it's needed in every sector of society.
Yeah.
There are programs for the prisons, workplace, every area you think about, that program will cover it. Even for the bullying, even in the teachers, because we're all teachers, right? We are training teachers to become teachers. That is the mentor of the program. So I want to leave you with that. But I'll be back again tomorrow night on your program. Have a blessed night.
Thank you very much. And of course, I'm glad that you mentioned that, because we will be trying to organize what I consider to be a matinee corridor transformation. We're about 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock when people are home and so on and relaxing, but the students are back home as well, to of course develop programs like these. So I will be relying on some of the expertise that are out there, because we have a duty and responsibility to the young people to of course make certain that when we would have departed, which is inevitable of course, that of course we leave a better Trinidad and Tobago. And those of us who have the commitment, who have the, not necessarily the wherewithal, and I say wherewithal here because meaning that there may be some deficiency somewhere, but of course if everybody put their respective talents and resources together, we may well of course achieve the transformation that is required. Yes, all of us have a stake in this, and the government clearly believes that somehow it and it alone can carry the gauntlet, or carry the mantle, carry the torch of that transformation. But clearly they have failed and continue to fail, and therefore outside of it. And I will be giving, of course, sharing some of my own experiences when we developed, of course, the Mobile Laventil Trade School. A typical school in its own right, to 300 youths, of the type that one of the qualifications is that you have to be, of course, engaged or have the potential to engage in crime. Yeah, that was one of the criteria to get into the MLIO Trade School. So conscious were we, and are we still. But of course, a number of other factors had to be put in place. Whilst we were fairly successful, I think over 6,000 young people graduated and are in different places at this point in time, being adults and so on. But of course, the program itself has suffered as a result of an insensitive PNM administration. I need to identify where the problem lies. And of course, you cannot indefinitely use your own resources and your own time and sacrifice family and all of that to do what the government, by contributing very little resource for the huge benefit that would have prevented, I am certain, what is Trinidad and Tobago today as far as gangs and the culture of violence, and of course being of course expressed or manifested in the school system as well. So I thought it was important, of course, to treat with that and to let you know. So those educators that are there and are extremely concerned, I want to tell you, of course, that there is no one solution, and therefore it is a multifaceted problem, and therefore there is a requirement for a multifaceted approach to treat with the problem that is, of course, Trinidad and Tobago today, particularly in an attempt, of course, to not only treat with those who are not yet influenced, but we also must have a simultaneous and parallel program for those who have already been influenced, and therefore are engaged in such a way, or put another way, we must engage them in such a way so that we achieve the ultimate goal of transformation, paradigm shift, and of course attitudinal change. And I could only bring that because of my own Laventil experience, and that is where I will be focusing, but I'm sure that will be the microcosm of what is happening in other parts of the country on a daily basis, and getting worse and worse. All right, so people, of course, we have come to the end. Is 25 minutes past the hour of 10 o'clock already, is it? And I tell all you that I'm tired. I tell all you that I wanted to sleep. I tell all you that. So when you see me drifting a little bit on the ground report, you see, don't vex with me. And when you see I take off focus on myself and I put on a picture, it's because I'm feeling sleepy, right? So of course, after all, I'm only human, right? So Have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless. Of course, I was hoping, maybe subconsciously that today would have been Thursday, but no, it is Wednesday. So we have another day. So tomorrow night, of course, we'll see each other, and maybe we can elaborate a little more. Again, that video in the back of me was merely to show, of course, the two parties, the contenders, and to symbolize the fact that the PNM is only concerned at this point with their own internal juggling for power and, of course, position, and leaving out, of course, the country that has reposed, of course, their trust in them via the electoral process to manage our affairs. They have turned their focus internally to solve their leadership issue, whilst, of course, the country runs on autopilot. Nobody should be forgiven for that. Nobody. And therefore, when the time comes, and it must, all of us must be focused and say, listen, enough is enough, and get rid of that kind of albatross, that kind of maladministration, that kind of ineptitude and capricious and power-mongering that has become stereotypical of the Rowley, now we have to say Stuart Young, PNM administration. Have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless. Let me see if I can get back to that tune where, of course, a party time. If not, I'll have to refer to another one or a different one. But let me see if I can get back that one. If not, I will have to do that. Let me go there one time because I'm not seeing it. So I will just end with one of our tunes that, of course, and let's focus on the young people in particular. So let us see if I can get one to reflect that. Yes. What should happen? Don't forget, of course, tomorrow morning, the ground report, Andy, Mike, and myself, as we start from 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, and, of course, on Friday morning as well. Have a wonderful one. Bye-bye.
A government to the joke, a government to the fight we down, a government to the work, a government with integrity. Now look how they understand. A government in city and tea, now without the bullet man everybody. PNM must go. Let them go. PNM must go. Hey, now everybody let's vote. Put them out. Vote. Put them out. Vote. Put them out. They're only time to resign. Vote. Put them out. Vote. Put them out. When they see it waving bye-bye, everything's selling out. They're not working out again. It's only draw. They will wipe out the name. Yeah. We want a government to feel policy, a government to the joke, a government to the fight we down, a government to the work, a government with integrity. Now look how they understand. A government in city and tea, now without the bullet man everybody.
Rowley, a dog. Low high the crime rate is in the country now, boy. Forest, come down. Inboot, come down. UNC, in tongue. I don't want to leave you on top that horse. I need you to come down here for me now. You're claiming PNM them is boss, but look how high the crime rate is now. PNM feel the bright. They are win election tonight. Come down from there, Rowley. Make me choke with that vibe. Champa, go to them, they not nice. Come down from there, Rowley. I just want to warn you before the mixing would look concern you. They went like Keto and one voodoo for the people and them to vote you. On the IG post you look nice. 1 million followers, 1 million likes. In the grocery the food price high. Give we 2% and feed we with line. That man can mama guy.
It's not for people like you and me. I have a political cemetery. It's not for people like you and me. It is for all them politicians. And I dig in their grave, no fuck with me hand. I find some of them, they living too long. And every 5 years it's the same old song. Some of them dead, just shame to lie down. So I prepare for them. I he. With joy in my heart, put him down with glee. All of them useless politicians, only making up numbers in my island. I don't care all who go vex with me, but Kamala I not ready to bury. She is a strong, determined woman like me, and deserve a chance to run this country. When she in power, I don't go hungry. And Calypsonian does get big money. She don't deserve no spot in my cemetery. I putting she in the center of the city. I have a political cemetery. It's not for people like you and me. It is for all them politicians. And I dig in their grave, no fuck with me hand. I find some of them, they living too long. And every 5 years is the same old song. Some of them dead, just shame to lie down. So I prepare for them a burial ground. Rowley, my first grave for he. With joy in my heart, put him down with glee. All of them useless politicians, only making up numbers in my island. I don't care all who go vex with me, but Kamala I not ready to bury. She is a strong, determined woman like me, and deserve a chance to run this country. When she in power, I don't go hungry. And Calypsonian does get big money. She don't